For most of my life, um, they played a role of the perfect Christian, that they loved God and all that stuff. They played this fake role. Um, and that's why it's so fucked up um, to think about, because um, spiritual whistleblower says that they secretly hate God. Narcissists hate God secretly. But they put on this huge, huge front of being the most perfect Christian, loves God more than anybody, is so close to God in relationship. They play this role, this huge role of this God follower, righteous Christian, but secretly they hate God and they don't want anyone's attention on God. They want everyone's attention on them and not God. But that's why it's so crazy to think about, because what they portray is the opposite of how they really feel, you know, about God. And yeah, it's just crazy to have been around that, your whole life and seen it your whole life. And um, it was so backwards, Um, they made me feel like I could never be close to God, and God hated me, and God did not like me. That's how they made me feel. And the evidence was pretty good in their favor, because no one really was there. You know what I mean? No one stood up for me. No one defended me. There really was no God for my a big portion of my youth. Nothing. It's not a joke. There was nothing. No defense of me. Nothing. Um, so I believed what they said and how they made me feel, that God hated me. God would never help me. God only favored them, and didn't favor me. I was the outcast no matter what I did. And they convinced me of this. And they convinced me of this very well, to the point where I just didn't even care anymore. I didn't even try anymore. Why try if God's against you? Why try? And the evidence is pretty solid that God's against you, you know, in their favor. So why make an effort when the evidence was so solid? So many things against me happened. No defense of me, you know. So I had this belief, that God favored them. God didn't like me, you know. And I had this belief for a very long time. Even a little bit still to this day, I always think like the God of my past, the God of my youth will come back. That God will come back and betray me again, in some way. I always think that that's going to happen again, because it happened so many times in my youth. Uh, God just not being there, God just letting them do whatever the fuck they wanted to me, God doing nothing. So it's just like, what do you expect? What do you expect me to think? you know, of course I'm going to think that God's against me. The evidence was in their favor. The evidence was very solid in their favor of God's abandonment of myself back then. So I always, and that's why I'm always like sketchy about trusting God at all, because the God of my youth fucking sucked. He fucking sucked. I'm just gonna say it point blank. The God of my youth sucked. It's almost like we got like the fuck up God, of the planet or something. We got the worst God ever. That's how it felt back then. It was just like, there's no God here, none. You know, uh, somehow he's favoring my family over me. It was totally backwards, and the evidence was very solid uh, in their favor of how God viewed me. It was how they felt about me. It was like both double hate. Hate from family, hate from God. So I had that big uphill climb against them and God at the same time. So you can imagine why I never tried. It's hard to win against all that. So yeah, it was some backwards shit back then. Um, even though God has helped me in recent years, that ain't the same God of my youth. Not even close. Like, what happened to the fuck up God? What happened to the fuck up God of my youth? Where's that God? What happened to that guy? Because the guy helping me now wasn't the fuck up God of my youth. So it's very confusing. It's just like, I don't know. You just expect them to win in the end, and me to lose, just like back in the day. Just like how things unfolded back then, of them pummeling me. You know, pummeling me in every way possible, and uh, while God did nothing. He didn't do shit back then. I'm just gonna say point blank, God didn't do shit to stop him from anything. Um, so nothing was off limits to them. Not even kids, not even their own kid. You know what I'm saying? Nothing was off limits. Um, and so the no intervention made me think that God was favoring them, and God was more like them. The fake kind of righteous superiority complex. You know what I'm saying? Um, I thought God was more like that. You know what I'm saying? Um, but anyways, um, but yeah, I just keep thinking that the God of my youth will come back and like screw me over again, and then I can be done with this place. You know what I'm saying? Finish the betrayal. You know what I'm saying? Just finish the betrayal of my youth. Finish what was started. You can't just watch somebody get pummeled, and you can't just watch somebody get targeted, a kid no less. You can't just watch that and then come back later on and expect that kid to forget all that stuff that happened, or that the kid never forgot uh, God's absence. The kid never forgot that. Trust me. The kid within me has not forgotten God's abandonment of back then. That's the biggest thing that stood out to me. You know, say what you want about these fake robot actors, putting on the Christian act. Say what you want about them. That doesn't even stand out to me as much as God's like absence through it all. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was very noticeable. God being nowhere to be found. It was very noticeable. It was me against the fake Christians, and God didn't do shit until I was fucking barely alive. You know what I'm saying? Um, that's why I got a problem with God. It's just that He left me hanging for a long time. A long time. He let me down for a long time. To the point where uh, He let me down to the point where uh, suicide was an easy choice. It was the easiest choice, actually. Just like, okay, there was no God for most of my life. Suicide's easy. It's an easy decision, really. Uh, God was against you your whole life, or God was absent your whole life, and it's obvious, and all the family knew it, and all the families are just laughing at you, and all the families just pointing fingers at you, that God is not on my side, and it was clear that God was not on my side, in their view and in my view. God was not on my side. And then when I finally attempted suicide, all of a sudden God appears. I mean, God shows up and says, I'm going to try now. I'm going to try now. Like, I know I didn't try for most of your life. I know I betrayed you in your youth and completely abandoned you in your youth. But now I changed my mind. Now I'm going to help you out and favor you over your family that you've never favored me. I've never favored you before. All of a sudden, I'm going to favor you. After 29 fucking years, all of a sudden, God's going to favor me now after they completely sacrificed me. Literally. They sacrificed me like I was a Jesus of the family. That's how they sacrificed me. Son being sacrificed to the Father. You know what I'm saying? It was that play out. You know what I'm saying? And but all of a sudden it's like, God's like, oh, don't give up. I'm gonna help you now. I I changed my mind based based on who knows what. Who knows what changed God's mind uh, to help me for the first time in 29 years. Who knows? I don't know. Nobody knows. Does God even know? I don't know. It's just like, why am I being helped now? Would not for 29 years. What happened to the God of the first 29 years of my life? Where's that fuck up? What happened to that fuck up God of the first 29 years? Totally absent, and makes me think that there is there is nobody on my side. Completely alone. Uh, and I thought that, so, but all of a sudden, God changes his mind. No one knows why. No one knows why God changed his mind. Satan doesn't know why. The narcissist family doesn't know why. I don't know why. It's all been very bizarre. Uh, we all expected God to just finish me off or just watch me die. That's what everybody expected. Everybody, including me. We just thought God was just going to let me die and that would be the end of it and it'd be over. It played out exactly how they wanted, how the family wanted, how it seemed like everybody wanted me to be gone. Everybody. That's what it totally felt like. I felt like I was doing everybody a favor by getting off the map, doing me a favor too, getting off the map. Um, you know, get away from these being, just getting away from being treated like crap. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of done with this world. Kind of a thing. But um, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of confidence or self-esteem. So believing in myself all of a sudden, and all of a sudden God wants to convince me somehow that he wants to help me now. He he changed his mind from the first 29 years. He changed his mind. He all of a sudden wants to help me that over my family for the first time in 29 years, literally. Very bizarre, uh, very unexpected, uh, on all fronts. Like it just didn't play out like I thought it was gonna play out. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody thought I was just gonna be off the map, you know, and then I'd be done with this place and be at peace. But no, no, that's not what God had in mind. God changed his mind after 29 years of doing nothing. Strangulation didn't do anything. But he wants to help me now all of a sudden. Not during strangulation. Not when it mattered. Not when it really mattered. About 17 years later, God steps in. Not when it mattered. When it was when everybody wanted me gone, including myself. That's when God jumped in. Is when it was pretty much over. It was over. That's when God steps in when it's over, which is some bullshit. That's some serious fucking bullshit that nobody can trust, in my opinion. So I don't know what the hell he expects of me. Should I betray God for 29 years in reverse? Should I be like that towards him as he was towards me for 29 years? Seems fair. Seems fair to me. You know, right, right when God needs me the most, I'm gonna abandon him, like he did with me. That's how this works. Oh, God needs me to do something. Oops, sorry, not doing it. You know. See how it feels to be abandoned when you need somebody the most. You know what I'm saying? See how he likes it. You know? So, what did I say? That everybody is, I don't know. I was abandoned first. I was betrayed first. You know? So, some bullshit.